Death Frenzy is a Japanese anime television series by Takayuki Yamaguchi, based on a manga Shurugo Jogo Zenjai by Norio Nanjo. This anime adaptation is based on the first 32 chapters. The story begins in 1629, Shizuka during Tokugawa Tadanaga's rule. The daimyo staged a tournament where the participants fought with real steel Japanese swords rather than Bokken. The story revolves around the first match between the one-armed swordsman Fujiki Kanosuke and the blind samurai Irako Seijin, and deals with the circumstances that led the two to participate in the Tokugawa's tournament. This anime is violent, this anime is brutal, this anime is fucking badass, and I highly suggest you guys watch this anime right after you watch this review. Now, I came across this anime when I was very young, around 15 or 16 years old, and these are one of these animes that kind of swept under the rug for me. I was already introduced with the other glorified animes such as Baki, Elven Lied, you name it, Fist of the North Star, and it kind of gave me an idea of what to expect by watching Sakurai Death Frenzy. But unlike those animes where they just starts a little bit with a with a straightforward story of just getting right down to the point, know the character's motive, and he or she just deals with it the way where these enemies come and face them, and they just have to just overcome them just so they can get to their goal. Sakurai Death Frenzy is different. It's very skilled when it comes to their story, their detail, their animation quality, and with their character development, and all that plays perfectly on this anime. You don't just care about one character, you care about a couple more. In fact, every character on here plays a part well into the story. They given us 12 episodes, and the way how they played it out here was done well. I was very surprised, especially with the fight scenes and the freaking story as well. I cannot really nitpick of which was better. That really blown me away, because when I first seen this as a kid, all those elements of violence, and I thought I've seen it all. I thought I've seen people's head blowing up. I thought, me seeing all this decapitation, all this murder, all this destruction, all these other animes that I've mentioned would keep me on edge of watching Sakurai Death Frenzy, because like I said, I heard people say that this anime is top notch when it comes to their murders. So I was like, you know what, whatever. But when I've seen it when I was a kid, I was like, what the fuck? Are you serious? I was surprised of what I was looking at. This gives you a whole different feel. This is not the typical gory anime that you're going to expect. Not only that they show you the deaths, not only that they show you the whole blows of how enemies get defeated, how people fight and stuff, they do it in such a detailed, skilled way. And then as a kid watching, I wasn't aware. I was still a kid. I was more focused on the deaths and more focused on the characters. But as I watched it again, just so I can get my brain refreshed, there was so much stuff that I missed on this anime, just how beautifully done the animation detail and the quality of this anime was. And I'm like, wow. So this was an unexpected surprise to me. I did not know that I had a hidden gem in my collection the whole time when I've gotten this age. And when I've seen it again, it made me be aware that this is an anime that everybody should be watching that's into the horror elements of violence and destruction and gore. Difference is, like I said, this is an anime that's based on samurai swords, and with a highly skilled level of just living at the times of 1629. I don't want to be at those times. I do not want to live at those times, because it gives you the violence and destruction of Baki. It gives you the deaths and the scenarios of Fist of the North Star. It gives you the elements of Elven Lied to it, but it gives you Game of Thrones vibes as well. In the main story, we are introduced with two characters, Fujiki and Iraku. Now, Fujiki, they're busy doing certain challenges and training inside the dojo just so they can help themselves progress. But then Iraku shows up, a new person that wants to know what the dojo is about, and at the same time, he has a motive of his own to achieve greater heights. Now, with Fujiki and Iraku, they have a similar strategy, but they have their own ways of how to achieve it. With Fujiki, he will stop at nothing to get what he wants, even when it comes to him using brute force of not even going to rules or dedication, or just him not even listening to his master. He does listen to his master, which is Ushimata, and I have to say, Ushimata, I love Ushimata. Ushimata, he kind of reminds me of my father. When it comes to me being in, having my back against the wall, when it comes to me being like in the edge of defeat, my father will always give me certain ways or certain elements and advice for me to be stronger and for me to have my own specific way just to overcome the enemies. He does that well. And that's the reason why I am the man I am today. So when I seen Ushimata as he saw Fujiki fight Iraku for the first time, Iraku is a cocky guy. Iraku, he is a guy that is a very skilled warrior. Actually kind of more skilled than Fujiki in a way. Fujiki was a little bold. He didn't really hold his punches when it comes to him training. So Iraku shows up and actually humiliates him in front of everybody. And Fujiki was pissed. He was pissed. And, he was in the rounds of just saying that even though he done pummeled him down and he just didn't want to get up, and then Iraku just said, the fight is over, I want to fight somebody else. Fujiki just kept saying in a bad state that he was in, I don't want to quit. This fight is not over. This fight isn't over yet. And you can see in his eyes that he was determined to fight him, even though he was not in the verge. He was not at that state of fighting. But that's when Ushimata showed up and he just, tapped him on the shoulder, and he just told him, look, you're right, it ain't over. But let him have this for now. Now, those are just the characters that just mentioned on the very first episode. Now, you are also introduced later on with the Grandmaster himself, which is Iwamoto. Iwamoto Kogen is... he is a scary guy. He is a scary son of a bitch. This dude, not only that he's a grandmaster of the whole dojo, and the reason why things are the way they are in the dojo when it comes to people just acting a certain way, people crossing each other a certain way or whatever, he is like Akuma. He is Akuma. This dude, he is about death. He is just a type of person that not only that you learn things from, but you also fear him. And not only that, but this dude is bipolar as fuck. He has a mental problem. He is mentally unbalanced. And this is the reason why I'm bringing Evan Light in, because with the main character New, and then when she transitions to Lucy, they both two different people, but in the same body element. This is how Iwamoto is. Iwamoto, when he's at the state of New, I can't say kind-hearted, but he's goofy, he laughs, he cracks jokes, he does a whole lot of crappy, funny things. But then when he's at the heat of determination, or when he wants to make an example, or if he just wants to just take people down, or just want to illustrate a point, without even warning, he transforms to the person of murder and intent. And it's, like I said, it's without warning. And I like that. I kind of feel like with an anime like this, that would include a character like that, I thought it was going to draw back the anime. I thought it was going to illustrate some problems, but they've done it perfectly well. I was surprised how well they fit with him, and they add a backstory with him as well, which, in my opinion, was very necessary, because I was very curious with this character. I want to know more about Iwamoto, just how he ended up changing the person he is, the stuff that he went through or whatever, because this man, he goes through a lot of traumatic stages of just how he became the man he is. His wife ended up having an affair with him, and you'd be like, you know what, I loved Iwamoto, but I hated the way he represented when it comes to him being cruel and brutal. But when you are introduced of why he ended up being the man he is, you'd be like, you know what, okay, I don't mind that at all. But it ends up tormenting a lot of people, especially Fujiki, because Fujiki is the type of person that likes Iwamoto with his attitude and the stuff that he needs to learn, because Iwamoto knows so much shit without the swords. He knows so much stuff without the swords, and Fujiki want to know more about his techniques when it comes to his body, when it comes to his bare hands, and he teaches him that in the most aggressive way. But Fujiki, like I mentioned, he wants to try to learn things his own way. He wants to try to learn things in a way that only he can progress on his own. So when somebody tries to do the exact same thing, he will find certain ways to counter-react to it. And that's what kind of makes Iwaku and Fujiki rivals in a way. Because Iwaku, he wants to achieve those goals. He wants to achieve those heights, but in a way that's by law, in a way that only the people in the dojo would do themselves. Fujiki is his own man. You're going to like them both, in my opinion. I'm sorry, I talked too much about the characters. Now let's try to talk about the violence itself. Now, back in those times in 1629, you're not gonna be in depth when it comes to, you know, just going all out, just fighting and stuff. What I like about this anime is that majority of times, almost actually all this freaking time, they talk to their opponents. They have very big dialogue about it, and I like that. I did not mind at all because I wanted to know more about the enemies that they was facing, why they're so deadly, what kind of techniques and tactics do they use, and then when they're in the battlefield, when in the standoff itself, we're most of the times introduced with a whole lot of quietness, with a whole lot of silence, to the point where, I'm sorry, this is an anime that you're gonna have to shut the fuck up to. You're going to have to shut up watching this, because this anime is not reflected on a lot of effects when it comes to people getting hit by walls, and then you hear a lot of side effects or whatever, and you just need to know what the hell's going on. No, you need to be quiet. Just the dojo music itself, the music in the background, how everything plays out, the dialogue and stuff, everything on this anime is calm and steady. But then when they end up fighting, that's when things get loud and crazy, and it happens so quick. The action is so freaking fast. But when you blink, you don't even know what the hell happened. But that's the life of it. That's the life of a samurai. That's a life of how it was back then. When a fight scene starts, they have like a unique standoff, and when they watch each other as they begin to fight, they stare at each other for a long while, and as the music begins to creep up, the tension begins to build up and stuff, and they just stare at each other on and on and on. And at the same time, you are introduced with the backgrounds, the scenery and stuff, how beautifully the scenery and the artwork is and stuff. They have put a lot on this anime. I was surprised of how much I missed this when I was a kid, but that's because I wanted to see the action. I just want to know the story. But I was surprised, like, and not only that, but when they begin to fight, they show one of the most beautiful detailed stances of the fight styles that they use. And again, it's something to really commend about. And I was very, very, like, happy that they was able to put that into an anime that well deserves this. The anime soundtrack and the scenery, the dialogue, especially the environment of it, the artwork of it is freaking amazing. I just love the fact that when you begin to watch these characters fight, you know, in the fields and stuff, I like how when we are introduced with a whole lot of, you know, doujin music and stuff from back then, and I just like how they stand out and they just do the standoff and they just watch each other and they just be uncomfortably long, and then you just hear the music sink in, as in, you know, we're in those times, and it just pulls you in, it just immerses you in it, and you know, you just hear it, it just be like dum 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 dum. When you hear that, and then when you see when you see the characters about to fight, about to tear each other apart, you be like, man, like this is very, very intense. And like I said, you need to watch this when you know, this is an anime you cannot speak. You have to just let it sink in. Just you know, only talk when there's a lot of violence involved. So when you just look at it, you just pay attention to what's going on, the dialogue and the chemistry and stuff. So when things begin to hit, when people begin to die, the bodies start falling, that's when you be like, oh my God, because there's going to be a lot of that. There's going to be a lot of death and destruction. This anime is a very beautiful masterpiece. I love this anime a lot. If you like samurai anime, if you like death anime, gory anime, there's no reason why you guys should not watch Shigure Death Frenzy. And I actually feel bad for those who are into animes like this, and they at that certain age where they have not heard of it and they just outgrown it. And in my opinion, I think that's a letdown. But hey, if this can come across some people that want to watch new anime and they want to check something like this out, I highly recommend you watch this. This is a masterpiece in my opinion. I'm going to have to give Shigure Death Frenzy an A+. had to watch this anime again and another time because you know, when me and my girlfriend was talking about certain animes and stuff, because she doesn't even watch anime. So when I showed her this anime as we was watching it together, she was actually drawn to it as well. And I don't know if she was just saying, if she was just into it because because she was just being nice, but she was actually adding some elements to the story as well, stuff that she liked about it. And I've asked her, what did you not like about it? She said nothing. She said that she's not even into anime like that, but she liked the feel of it. It kind of gave her those, you know, those days where, you know, times was different, and it gave you the feel to it because of the soundtrack, the cinematography, the dialogue, all that stuff plays out well. And I know how there are animes that try to do the exact same thing. They try to give you the feel to it. They try to give you the dialogue, but those animes lack a lot when it comes to their source material, but they do best with their action. And Shigure Death Frenzy, they do great on all aspects. The characters is perfect. The dialogue is perfect. The cinematography is perfect. The story is overwhelmingly fantastic. The soundtrack is so freaking good, and the fights, the violence, you will not be let down. I beat the bell this time. Anyway, that's all I have for today. Stay tuned for more of my anime reviews and videos coming your way. This is CT, your critic teacher, and you guys have a good day.